What's going on, guys? I got quite a few stocks here, looking pretty damn good. So I've been really fearful of CCIV. I never got into any of this price action here. I know a lot of people were FOMOing and talking about it, and they ended up making the right move because they were talking about it right around this 25 area, and everyone was going crazy about it. Even people that don't really know how to trade, they just probably heard the news, and everybody was talking about it. And I looked at it and I went, well, I don't know if I want to get into this thing, coming from $9 up. So, and then it ran, and I completely missed it, and I was just taught not to FOMO in, and that to me felt like FOMOing. So, I let it run, and, when it got up here, I did see a big correction coming, and, I never made a video on it because I didn't feel like it was my place because I never got into it or anything. So basically it was in this big channel here, and when this support is broken, that was when we went into a downtrend. And it's kind of done that since that support was broken. It's went down, and it's been just kind of going sideways here. So what I was looking at is this as a potential bear flag or big falling wedge. So I'm going to call it a big falling wedge here. So on the bright side of things here, we did potentially get a 4-hourly close at 130. We could get a 4-hourly close above this. The volume's not that big though. The low of this 4-hour move was roughly 1956. We have had a wick down here, but that was still inside this pattern. Potentially, we could have a wick to this 1920, but I'm going to call this bull flag that it looks like it could be forming here from 1932 to roughly 2026, with the expectation of this 4-hour 20 EMA roughly at 2048. So if we look down at the hourly here, just to see what's going on, you can see we made this short-term double top here, which could inevitably turn into a double bottom, depending on how it plays out. So we want to keep an eye on that. If it comes down here, it could have a wick and then buy back up and then trend sideways and then run. And if it ultimately breaks this, back tests it as support and runs, that is a very, very good entry price. But until we see some kind of confirmation up in this level here, we don't really want to be buying it. Personally, I don't want to be buying it here. Just because if this does happen to break down and catch resistance and fall, then your next lower target here would most likely be, which this trend line isn't drawn perfectly, but if we did move it up, we would have to look at it potentially back to the 1743 and potentially breaking a lot lower, of course, because you're right at the end of it, in my opinion. So, with that being said, we could be potentially creating some kind of bullish structure with all these moving averages pushing up here. Although this candle is a little bit, it's only an hourly, but showing a little bit of rejection here. So, we look at the RSI, and you can see that we had some exaggerated bearish divergence there straight across on the RSI. I mean, not even really bearish divergence, I guess, because it looks like we were straight across here and straight across here, roughly, maybe a little hair lower, so I guess it could be exaggerated bearish divergence. So needless to say, I'm looking for some type of bounce between this 1945 and this 1930, with the expectation it could tap this 1912, I guess, depending on when it hit. If we have another one of these wicks here that could fake some people out. But we do want to wait for, like I said, and I don't want to repeat it 10 times, but I'll say it once more. We want to see some confirmation above 2050. So we're definitely trying right now to potentially make some kind of W here. But it also could be a fake out, and it could W up, get rejected again, and then come down with a triple top or some type of head and shoulders pattern here that could drop us a little hair lower. So, with this flag that I have here drawn in, that's my expectation right now. But there's another way we could draw this potentially if we lined up these wicks. If this pretends to, if this ends up being a bottom here, we'll find out in the next 15 minutes or so. If this ends up remaining where it is, then it's possible that this could be the low right here. But if roughly 1960 breaks, we would inevitably come down here or lower, because if this is we don't know yet, but if this was the a pattern right here and we continued to break down, then your targeted move could actually bring you down to 1850, which would be technically below this pattern, and that might not be so good either. So, it's too soon for me to draw this trend line here and actually say, hey, we're catching a bounce here or not, but that's kind of what I'm watching. So mainly we want to see some confirmation up here. So that's kind of where I'm at, and this targeted move is roughly $32 with the expectation that it could hit some resistance, come back down. So if it does get a nice breakout, it could come up to this 2150, come back down, and see if it can catch support or not. But that's what you'd want to inevitably see. So you don't want to FOMO right in as soon as this thing breaks, because it may break, come back down, back test. But if you wanted to take that chance, look for that break of the 2050. You could enter with your stop loss somewhere below this flag, or like at 1915 or something, or you could just put it right below this flag somewhere around this 1990 area or something like that. 1988 and 1987 would probably be where I would put a stop loss if I was to actually put a play in here. If we broke this roughly 2070, I'd probably say, it's just because we did wick to this 2060 before. So if we hit that 2070, that could be a potential scenario. That's all I kind of have for right now with what I see here. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm watching for. So I just want to put that quick video out that this could be getting bullish. I mean, if we look at some, moving averages, though, it might be a fake out, just because you have this 50 coming down that could cross. You still have this 20 EMA on the 4-hourly pushing down, which could inevitably push us lower. And if we look at the daily here, we just got a daily death cross, which sometimes does cause a pump here. But even if we did get a nice move out of here, profits would probably want to take in around this 25 potentially, just because of the fact that this 50 EMA on the daily is coming down also, which could eventually, unless this curls up and starts heading upwards again, that could actually signal more downside here. And you can see this RSI here on the daily. It's just kind of got a little notch in it, so it could roll over here and push us lower too. So we don't want to get too bullish here, but that would be potentially a trade setup. Now, we can also see that this weekly 20 EMA is at $23 as well. So that would be a very strong resistance up here that we definitely want to keep our eyes on here. If we were entering some type of trade, we'd have to expect that this area could get a very strong rejection if it does actually make it up there. So, we have a few things that we're looking for to potentially confirm that this is a legit reversal, or if it's just another small fake out here like we've had many times here. We've had this fake out, and is this going to be another fake out? That's what we kind of have to watch for. But, like I said, for short term, we could possibly make a trade here if this thing does want to show us that it's ready and it wants to confirm here. But right now we are making an M here, and this is on the 3-hour, and we definitely have massive bearish divergence as of right now. So that is the only down thing that I see that could potentially push us lower, but that would be if we broke down lower than 1880-ish, 1884. But for now, I'm kind of looking at this flag from 1930 to 2025. So just wanted to put that out there for you guys if you were interested. If you like this, if you want me to keep up with CCIV, if I can, if it starts making anything that looks more bullish than this, let me know in the comments, or hit the like button. I'd appreciate it. But, for now, we are holding this 20 EMA at 1962 on the 3-hour, but it does look like it's ready to have a small correction that could bring you down here, or $19. So just watch out for that. But I'm going to be keeping my eye on it too, because I'd like to make a trade somewhere, even if it was only a couple dollar move here. So, if we look at the 5-minute just to see what's going on, you can kind of tell that we had this fake out here, which which could be looking like that, but on the 5 minute here, it kind of looks like a left shoulder ahead, and this is making a right shoulder, but that could be getting bought up here. But it's hard to say because it's just a 5 minute time frame. But you know, if you wanted to call this a flag from 1893 to 2025, you could, and then you could potentially play these swings here if it does bring you down here. But like I said, we could be forming, you know, I'm just trying to see here something else. This type of flag, something like this could be a flag like that if we do it off the 5 minute here, which would probably bring you down to about 1950 with a bounce. So that's also something that we'd probably want to watch for, which technically is rising here, but if we were to look at what would the target be off of that, we would just literally do this and see where we would get to, and that could almost bring us up to perfectly to the 21-week EMA. So is that what we're going to do? It's very possible, but in order to get that confirmation, we really need to find some support on this 2070 area here. So yeah, that's all I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoy that. This is the 5 minute right here, so take that with a grain of salt. All right, peace.